Dusk would usually have felt a tad loath to return to work after her 4-day weekend. However, today, Dusk surprisingly didn't mind putting her 4 hours at Jack's. Fawn and Luna had lamented about having to wake up and go to work in the morning after such an enjoyable 4 days off, but Dusk didn't really mind that the weekend was over. The writing session at Data and Zon's house felt Dusk leaving feeling motivated to get moving on the next music video. There had been a lull in customers in the morning, a few people trickling in and sporadically, and it had been extremely quiet for the most part, which was to be expected considering everybody's bellies were still stuffed from their Thanksgiving feasts. Dusk glanced up at the clock to see it was 11:45, so the lunch rush would soon be coming in. She presumed it would be much less of a rush as usual, or at least it hoped it was. She was enjoying how quiet it had been. The sound of Jack's door being pulled open Dusk out of daydream. She looked up to greet a customer. She saw someone who she never expected to see, Julia. "Hey, Dusk," Julia exclaimed. "I didn't know you worked here." "Hey, I didn't know you came here," Dusk responded. "I actually never have before," Julia admitted. "I just traveled back from seeing my family last night, so I was so tired that I forgot to pack a lunch, so I thought I'd stop somewhere." "Do you have anything you recommend here?" "Depends on what you like," Dusk informed. "Sandwiches, soups, salads." "A salad sounds great," Julia replied as Dusk handed her a menu. "The poppy seed salad sounds really good. I'll have that." "Sounds great, I'll make that right away." Dusk hurried into the kitchen and pulled some lettuce out of the fridge. She admittedly didn't even remember when she went to the poppy seed salad, since it was rarely ordered, so she glanced at the menu Jack had laying around the kitchen to see. The menu informed her that it was feta cheese, onions, tomatoes, and poppy seed dressing. Dusk then pulled out all those items out from the fridge and began mixing the salad together. "Thank you so much," Julia appreciated, as Dusk brought the salad to her booth. "Well, that reminds me, I'm actually glad I ran into you here. Did you hear about the changes with the oil pipeline?" "You mean they're tearing the whole park down?" "Yeah, greedy bastards," Dusk sneered. "We're going back to protest again Friday afternoon at 1:30. If you know anybody else who'd be interested in joining, please spread the word. We need all the help we can get," Julia informed. "What about Mayor Corey saying he'll call the cops?" Dusk questioned. "We're just hoping to convince him through peaceful protest and that this is wrong," Julia answered. "We're planning a calm, even-tempered protest. So if you see anybody who's getting too angry or riled up, please kindly just remind them that our goal is to come across as articulate and rational as possible. I don't know if he'll listen, but we have to keep trying. It's nearly cold enough for them to wrap up the construction for the winter, so this may be our last chance. We can't let them destroy the park like this." "I think that's a great idea, actually. I don't even know if you saw, but Mayor Corey actually talked to us at the last protest. He even admitted he would prefer not to have the pipeline go there. But it's the company that chose that spot and paid the county," Dusk informed. "That's amazing. Hopefully that means he'll be receptive if he shows up again," Julia answered. "Well, you can count on Fawn and Luna and I. We'll definitely be there," Dusk commented. "Wait, where will you all be?" Fawn inquired playfully as she and Luna came in, apparently overhearing the conversation. "Julia's organizing another protest fight against the pipeline at Friday at 1:30, Dusk responded. "That's great. In that case, we'll absolutely be there," Fawn agreed. "I'm so glad we could count on you all," Julia smiled as she finished her salad. "I've got to head back to my internship. I'll see you on Friday. Have a great day." "You too," Luna chimed in as Julia headed out the door. "I didn't want to say this while Julia was here, but I just got a brilliant idea," Fawn exclaimed. "What if we brought the camera to the protest and got footage of it for our video? We'd have to ask Gus to see if it's possible to rent the camera, though." "That's a wonderful idea. Since Julia says it's going to be a calm protest, it'd be a perfect way to show people that protesting isn't just all rage and rebellion," Luna chimed in agreement. "Yeah, that sounds wicked," Dusk added. "If we get soon enough footage from the protest, Maybe we could even go back to Auburn. I mean, we need at least some footage of us performing the song. Dusk chuckled. It was playful. Laughing with you. The type of chuckle. But Dusk felt that it was a tiny bit dejected from it. She was admittedly still feeling sensitive about the whole lack of creativity lately, even though she was trying her best to tell herself that she had gotten out of that slump. She wanted to stuff herself down the tiny voice in her head that told her that she wasn't as smart or creative as Fawn and Luna. I think probably the best course of action is to go back to Auburn with Gus and film a full performance of the song, then go back and edit bits of the protest footage and then the original Auburn trip to the video, Luna advised. Yeah, you're right, Dusk solemnly replied. Hopefully we can get a trip up book ahead this week, and then have our music video wrapped up by next week. We just need to get this out. I agree. We should try and get this out before the holidays if we can, Thornton added. It'd be good to move on from whatever the next promotional strategy for promoting the album is next year. Although I guess we'll have to figure out what that is. Dusk admittedly had no idea what the band would be doing next either. She was so laser focused on getting the video finished, they actually thought it was taking too long already. She supposed that she needed to start thinking about it if they were going to get the next video finished as quickly as she wanted them to. After weeks of planning and waiting, Dusk was incredibly eager to have this meeting with Gus, because Thanksgiving was last Thursday, and the girls had not yet with Gus for 2 weeks. That felt like an eternity to Dusk, who was ready to get things rolling. She was tired of having the band be on a limbo, but she was ready to start putting out the content for fans again. Happy Thursday, girls, Gus said warmly. I reviewed the footage on the camera and everything looks absolutely incredible. Thank you, Thorne smiled. We actually had some ideas bounce off of you about renting the camera again for the rest of the video. Fire away, Gus responded. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. So there's another protest about the pipeline this Friday, Dusk shared. We're curious if we could bring the camera to the protest and film it. That's going to be a bit tricky in terms of you needing permission of the people. As long as you're filming outdoors in a public space, you're free to record anything on plain sight, Gus informed. However, you can't record anything a place that's privately owned. That shouldn't be an issue, since the whole protest is outside, Luna pointed out. Wonderful. I think you all got the idea, girls, Gus remarked. One of the most fascinating aspects of storytelling is demonstrating your message to the audience by showing them what you mean, rather than blandly telling them. I'm so proud of you that you already seem to understand the concept. In my experience, artists don't typically learn that until their second album, so you're ahead of the game. Sorry we're so instinctive, but I actually just got another idea, Luna realized, sounding a bit self-conscious about them asking to change plans again. What if we make the music video in the style of a documentary? That would be a really cement to the show don't tell mentality. Maybe we could do something Dusk suggested a few days ago, and then call it all to Auburn stuff, and just make the whole video documentary of our experience with the protest. Thorne's jaw dropped. Oh my god, I love that idea. You're a genius, Luna. See? This is why I love you girls so much, Gus beamed. You never fail to impress me with your creative, fresh ideas. You should absolutely make the video in the documentary form. That's an incredibly unique idea that I have admittedly never heard in all my years of working in label. Isn't that kind of a big of a risk? Doing something you've never heard as an accept? Dusk asked. That's exactly why you should do it, Gus argued. It makes you stand out with the band and cements your image as vivid storytellers. I'll book the camera for you girls tomorrow at 1:30, and you could pick it up after your shifts. Is there any specific type of footage that we should focus on getting? Thorne inquired. I don't think the footage is bad footage. Just get as much as you can. And once you watch it back, you can piece together what parts would contribute to your story. Of course, I'm always here to help it anyway if you girls needed it. But with how creative you all are, I'm sure you'll come up with something as amazing as all on your own. Gus smiled. Dusk was extremely impressed with Luna as well. and happy that the idea she thought was stupid actually ended up helping the band. She just hoped their fans would love the emotive idea as much as Gus did. Dusk couldn't believe that November has come and gone, and December was now here to greet them with his icy winds and hazardous weather. Although thankfully today it had been a relatively mild day for being outside. The girls had just picked up the camera from Gus, which Thorn held since she got out of the vehicle. Wizard, Luna, and Dusk carry all three of their signs from their last protest. "We're a bit early," Luna remarked, the voice giving off the energy that was a bit anxious and uneasy. "Yeah, I see Julia, though," Thorn pointed out. "You doing okay, Luna? You seemed a bit nervous." "I'm okay," Luna replied, before backtracking a bit to share her true feelings. "But yeah, I'm kinda nervous. I hate confrontation. Even so, I'm passionate about getting this pipeline moved. It's not like exactly the whole ideal situation for me." "If it helps you any better, Julia did say the protest would be peaceful," Dusk reminded. "I'm not worried about Julia or any of us. I'm worried about the construction workers fighting back," Luna rebuked. "A man who threw his lemonade at the garbage to punish it for its bad taste isn't exactly the prime example of a rational person." Thorn let out a laugh of agreement. She was just about to respond, but she was interrupted by Julia coming up to the girls. "Hey girls, it looks like you came here super prepared," Julia greeted. "What's the camera though?" "This is kind of a secret, but we're going to film the protest to make a documentary about the pipeline for our music video," Thorn informed. Dusk found Thorn's quickiness to reveal the details of their music video to Julia a bit odd, given she was so adamant to Dusk not saying anything to Dawn. "I love that idea," Julia exclaimed. Her eyes lightened up with excitement. Dusk's ears perked up a bit when she heard two construction workers standing over near the pipeline talking. "Ah, shit, this thing is leaking a little again," the brown-haired construction worker laminated. It was the same construction worker who had called the mayor on them before. Dusk couldn't believe her ears. He was admitting that there was a problem with the pipeline. "Thorn!" Dusk leaned over and whispered. "Turn the camera on. The construction workers are talking." Thorn quickly did as she was told, quickly scrambling from behind the tree, Wizard holding the camera so the workers could see what she was doing. Given that she was about 30 feet from the workers, it was unlikely that they noticed her anyway, but Dusk agreed with them that Thorn was a smart decision not to stand on plain sight. "What did you say?" the other construction worker said, who was a stocky blonde man wearing a construction vest. "The pipe's leaking," the man shouted, which Dusk was quite glad about. It allowed the girls to get their confession on camera. "We ought to tell the mayor," the other worker reported. "We've already lost a day because of those protesting kids, and I'm not about to lose another," the brown-haired construction worker laminated. "We'll tell the mayor if it's leaking when we're done." The construction workers proceeded to get back to work, turn on their bulldozers and ignoring the issue with the leaky pipe. "That's illegal," Luna exclaimed, knowing that the workers could never hear over such a racket. "I think that's exactly the angle we take," Julia replied, as she and a few others came to join them. "They've not only gone against emphatically implementing this pipeline, but they're breaking the law." Dusk saw a couple of guys whom she recognized from the last protest walk over to join the group. There were also new faces. A girl wearing a bandana with a very colorful clothing, a guy donning jeans and a white t-shirt, as well as another girl wearing a long, flowery-looking yellow dress. "Alright, remember everyone, we're going to do this peacefully, to show our opposition to the pipeline rationally and artificially. Even if they fight back, don't get worked up. Our best weapon is to be the remaining calm and collected," Julia cheered. Dusk noticed that Thorn was still filming Julia's speech as the group began marching towards the construction site. The protesters had moved to the center of the park where the workers are digging, to which it was towards the area where the songwriting group used to meet. It had been completely destroyed now, and there's nothing left but a pile of dirt on the pipeline, which the workers were now attempting to bury underground. "Do we try and get their attention?" the bandana-wearing girl asked. "I think they'll notice us on our own," the guy in the white t-shirt guessed, holding up a sign proudly. The other protesters contractors proceeded to do the same. Sure enough, the guy was right. Just holding up their signs solitarily together was enough for the workers to eventually notice them. "Oh God, not you guys again," the blonde construction worker sneered. "Didn't you hear what the mayor said? If you obstruct this government project, you'll be arrested." The brown-haired construction worker forcefully shouted. "We're not obstructing anything," the bandana-wearing girls corrected. "We're just expressing our disdain for this project at a safe distance away." "I don't need this," the brown-haired construction worker growled. "I'm giving you hooligans one chance to leave, and if you don't this time, I'll call both the mayor and the authorities." "I guess you won't mind if we tell the mayor about you ignoring the pipelines leaking," Dusk sassed. "What?" It was clear that the brown-haired construction worker's face was terrified that the protesters knew his secret, and he quickly tried to hide this by looking defiant. "I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about." "We heard you saying the pipeline is leaking," Thorne replied. "We also overheard you say that you don't plan on doing anything about it," Julia added. The man began stuttering, clearly in shock that he had been caught and believed what just was an under-the-radar remark. "Well, you can't prove that when I said anything. It will be my word against yours, and when the mayor gets here, I'm sure he's going to believe an adult who is well employed by the city over a bunch of rebellious kids." "Well, we've got you," Dusk said, was about to taunt them with the fact that they caught his ass red-handed on the camera. However, Julia interrupted her. "Not yet," Julia whispered to Dusk's ear. "We want to get them the mayor. These construction workers don't have the power to stop the project, and I think it's best to catch them with the element of surprise when we're telling the mayor that we have evidence." "You've got me what?" the brown-haired red man construction worker yelled. "We've got you right where you wanted," Dusk quickly improvised. "Go ahead and call the mayor. We'll wait." "Those kids are crazy," the blonde construction worker chimed in. "The mayor will have their butts arrested for sure." "Well, we'll see about that," Thorne yelled. The protesters waited for at least 30 minutes. After the construction worker dialed the mayor's office on his mobile phone, Dusk didn't mind the waiting. It felt empowering to her to stop these assholes from furthering their environmental destruction. Honestly, it seemed that the construction workers were more peeved them to wait than the protesters, of all who sat patiently and conversed amongst each other. Along at last, the mayor had arrived. "What's going on, Brandon?" Mayor Corey asked the brown-haired construction worker. "These kids are preventing us from doing our work again," Brandon accused. "Yeah, you ought to get them thrown in jail, Mayor Corey," the blonde construction worker shouted. Now, I don't think jail time will be necessary, Nate," Mayor Corey reassured. "However, it does seem that the authorities will need to be phoned." Dusk didn't practically seem surprised by his response. He always seemed to be a peacemaker who didn't like making waves. As Thorne sometimes jokes, he was type of man that you would ought to get a light in the house in the fire, and probably will still try to find the positive in it. "We're not obstructing anything," Julia calmly told the mayor. "We are peacefully protesting the sidelines. At least we have the right to do as concerned citizens." We've got plenty of reasons to be concerned too," the girl wearing the bandana said. "They're tearing up the whole park now instead of just part of it. The city is well aware of that, and we would have them approve to tear down the park. It'll be a shame to see the park go, but the company tells me it's the best place for the pipeline right here, and they needed more room," Mayor Corey explained. Dusk figured now would be a best time to come up what they just overheard. "That's not all, Mayor Corey." "Dusk, Thorne, Luna?" Mayor Corey's eyes grew wide with shock. Dusk was quite surprised to see that finding out about their involvement only looked surprised to the mayor, but hurt them a little personal level. "I thought you said you girls weren't involved in this." "We've got a very special reason to be," Dusk spoke up. "We overheard these construction workers talking about a leak in the pipeline, and they're covering it up." "They're lying," Brandon exclaimed. "They have no evidence whatsoever. They're just kids who think that they're just a bunch of rebels. But we've got a drop sense of enjoy of their heads." "Not true," Thorne calmly stated, holding up the camera. "We recorded the whole conversation." "Oh no, you couldn't have," Brandon said. His voice was now reduced to an anxious stutter. Somebody must have, mixed up some footage or something. I don't think that's how cameras work, Dusk sassed. If that's true, it's extremely concerning. Mayor Corey's face fell. Tell me, girls, if you overheard them speaking about a leak, could you point it out where it is? They were standing over a few feet to where Brandon was now, Julia informed. Mayor Corey walked over to the spot where Julia pointed, and as Dusk could have sworn she heard Nate curse under his breath, the mayor slowly got down on his knees and inspected the pipeline. When he looked up again, his face looked quite grim and shocked. You're right, is all the mayor said at first. To Dusk's surprise, Nate looked like he was about to explode with anxiety. I'm not saying anybody did anything, but if they do have footage, I never said anything about wanting to ignore the leak. What the fuck? You idiot, Brandon said, smacking Nate lightly across the face. Clearly there's some serious issues with this pipeline, Mayor Corey solemnly said. Brandon, Nate, go home. The construction for this project is going to be on pause until the leak is fixed. Will that be with or without pay? Brandon angrily asked. Given that you're paid by the hour, it will be without the pay, Mayor Corey sternly answered, before returning to the protest. Thorn, Dusk, Luna, all of you, thank you for bringing this issue to my attention. From the bottom of my heart, the city truly owes you a great debt of gratitude. In the meantime, while they're fixing the leak, I would like to interview the footage so I may decide whether this project can continue or not. All the protesters all erupted with cheering as Mayor Corey directly approached Thorn, Luna, and Dusk in the crowd. My schedule is pretty busy next week, but does 8 a.m. on next Friday sound good to review the footage? Mayor Corey inquired. Yeah, absolutely, Thorn agreed. Excellent. I look very forward to reviewing it, Mayor Corey remarked. I must get back to my office to report the leak immediately, before it grows large enough to cause any sort of hazard. I can't stress enough how I appreciate you for bringing this to my attention. As Mayor Corey headed off in the other direction, Dusk felt sudden weight of somebody's arms around her. She quickly realized it was Julia, embracing her in a hug. You girls are heroes! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Julia excitedly exclaimed, releasing her grip from Dusk and moving in to hug Luna and Thorn. Dusk was in complete disbelief that they had just worked, even if the solution was uncertain. It felt like Brandon and Nate had nothing to stand on now, as Mayor Corey would see this as evident as they lied. What Dusk wasn't sure enough was whether or not it would be enough to convince the mayor to shut down the project for good. Dusk let out the thoughts slosh around in her mind for a moment, when her mind slowly shifted to thinking of how they could use the footage for their next music video. Then the idea hit her. She had spaced out for a moment and hadn't been paying attention to the apparent conversation that Luna, Thorn, and Julia were having. Ironically, it was quite related to the idea that she just had. Just going to have hope that he'll see the footage and shut the project down, Thorn said. You know we're going to have to make the video a documentary style, Dusk interjected. Do you think we can make it in time for next Friday? I don't think Mayor Corey is going to want to see our video, Thorn laughed. He's got too much important things to focus on with the pipeline. That's not what I mean, Dusk shook her head. She was about to correct Thorn. However, she was cut off by Luna before she had a chance to. I think what she means is to make the music video a documentary style as part of the evidence for our mayor, Luna interrupted. Yeah, the whole point of making a documentary is to convince people that we're not just rebellious kids, having a legitimate ethical concerns. Why can't the mayor be one of those people? Dusk explained. You mean the music video could be an argument about the mayor of why he should stop the pipeline? Thorn asked for clarification. Exactly, Dusk confirmed. Well, that would be incredible, Julia gasped. Well, we've been looking for something big and unique to get the public's attention. This would be one hell of a way to do it, Luna laughed. I think we should go for it. There's literally no question in my mind, Thorn responded. We have to make this into our music video. Dusk was eager to return to Dayton's aunt's house for the songwriting group's meeting tonight, and as the soccer mom van approached the house, the same blissful sense of peace and scenery she felt it when she was last there returned. Freeing her mind from all the pressure that week had placed on her, The driveway was already filled with a full few vehicles, so she parked the soccer mom van in the long grass. She hoped that Dayton's grandma wouldn't mind, although the winter snow would likely cause the tire tracks to disappear by the time that summer came. As Dusk got out of the car and then walked towards the house, she admirably nearby window with a tree blowing in the wind. She daydreamed about how amazing the music video project was going to be. She had a feeling that if they really buckled down and worked hard to finish the video by Friday, it would give the mayor a serious pause about continuing the project. When Dusk entered the house, she was surprised a moment to see no one. However, when she walked around a bit more, she could hear voices coming from upstairs. She assumed that it was the rest of the group that must be upstairs in the office, where she, Dayton, and Dawn sat last week. The stairs creaked as Dusk's feet applied pressure to each of them. The voices became louder as Dusk climbed the stairs, and Dusk could begin to make out pieces of what they're saying. "This place is oughta old and dumpy," Brett complained, which Dusk wholeheartedly disagreed with. She supposed that some people like her a little more modern look, but it still questioned her on how somebody could hate such a place as beautiful as this. "The environmental protest today?" Ava asked. "No, I had to work," Dawn responded. As Dusk finished ascending the stairs, she realized her presumptions were correct. Everybody was sitting upstairs in the office, conversing amongst themselves, waiting for the meeting to finish. Dusk intentionally wondered how it was possible that there were more people than there were cars, but she quickly realized that some of them must have carpooled together. "Hey, how's it going?" Dawn greeted Dusk as she walked in. "Great, I heard you talking about the pipeline protest," Dusk informed. "I was there and we convinced the mayor to stop the pipeline." "You're kidding!" Dayton gasped. "Nope," Dusk said with a sly smirk. "It turns out that one of the pipes are leaking. We overheard the construction workers say it. We told the mayor when they called them again, and he put the whole project on hold till they investigated further." "That's amazing!" Ava exclaimed. "It's pretty awesome, although I am sure the mayor's just doing that for appearance. He'll just give him the go-ahead as soon as the leak is fixed," Dawn said. "Actually, he wants to hear from us all protesters to discuss the evidence. We got him on film," Dusk exclaimed. She tried not to say anything that would reveal details about the music video, as per Thorne and Luna's wishes, although she would have loved to brag about it. "I'm sure he'll put that evidence in a file folder that conveniently gets lost forever," Dayton laughed, doing air quotes with his fingers. Dusk was starting to feel dejected now. She seemed excited to share this cool news with her friends, but for whatever reason they were so caught up in bashing Mayor Corey that they seemed to be completely unwilling to hear anything that was suggested. He might actually be a decent man. Then why the hell did he feel need to discuss Mayor Corey at every turn? They didn't even know him. It almost just seemed like they just like shaming people just to make themselves feel superior, rather than actually caring about the issue at hand. Regardless of what they said, she believed Mayor Corey was an honest man who was going to legitimately consider their evidence. "Well, he seemed pretty convinced to me," Dusk argued. "Of course he did. He wants to make the people think he's actually invested in doing emphatically when he's not," Dawn rebuked. Dusk wasn't going to continue pushing it when it was clearly a losing battle. They didn't even deserve to know that Thorne, Luna, and Dusk were protesters. He'd like to discuss the evidence. If they were going to act like that, although she wouldn't admit it, but she didn't also want to do anything about the group that she thought it was uncool or out of touch. Dusk piped down and took her seat on one of the folding chairs. She was loath to make an appearance of what the crappiest, most beaten-up chair, but all of the nice ones that had taken, Dayton sat in the office chair, while Dawn and Casely sat on the rockers, and all the sat on folding chairs, but they appeared to be at least functional, whereas Dusk creaked when she sat down at the rickety leg. "Who wants to share for their past 2 weeks first?" Jonathan asked. "Well, I did say I was the one who asked to share first," Kelsey teased. "All right," Jonathan doubtfully nodded. "It's always a frustrating experience spending time with my grandfather when I was forced to do so at Thanksgiving. I channeled my frustration to a poem, to which I will read in the excerpt form. From the sound of my family chowing down their beloved turkey, perhaps comforting for some, but frustrating for me, a boy who becoming a man, who is not understood, I would open up to you if I could." "Hey man, I wrote a rap about turkey too," Brett said. "We went to the market for turkey, but the driver was being a jerky. He was driving 26 'cause he's a bastard. We all wanted him to go faster. We all told the old geezer to park it, and we all went to the market." "I wrote a song this week about the nature hike I took with my family," Ava shared. "It starts like this. Peace is walking through the grove of trees. All the scenery is all I need." "I have written so many songs this week, but I think my favorite is about my ex getting punished and is in the afterlife," Dayton informed. "I'm thinking the chorus should be something like, 'You took my love, threw it down a well. You'll get what's coming to you when you're in hell.'" "Ooh, I love that. Anyway, I wrote a song that might be one of the most spiciest I've ever written," Kelsey said with a mischievous giggle. "My favorite line is, 'If they ask where you are not telling, 'cause you were up all night feeling her melons.'" Dusk tried to hold back the laugh on the hard oncoming cringe as she felt coming. She understood why Thorne and Luna's reaction to Kelsey that they did at the first meeting. Dusk didn't mind Kelsey's lyrics at first, but everything she wrote was getting more mind-numbingly generic by the minute. It seemed that Kelsey had no unique artistic image at all, beyond being vain and carrying to the old adage of sex sells. That million-one artist that was already doing better for her. Hell, a robot programmed the sole purpose of acting sexy would write better than lyrics than Kelsey did. "I've got some exciting news to share this week. I've been keeping this for a secret now, but I think I could finally share," Dawn exclaimed. "I've been talking with their label intern, and they connected to a label I've always officially wanted to be as a songwriter." Everyone erupted clapping, including Dusk. She was proud of her friend, and she knew she'd been working hard on her songs, and she was so happy that Dawn had been discovered. Thank you, Dawn smiled. "I've been pretty busy with this all week, and I don't really have any songs to share, but I have been writing another breakup song about when I wallowed my misery over losing a boy. I hope the other people wowing over their ex can relate and come straight. We've been working on the music video still, and I'm excited to share that we're getting closer together than putting it out," Dusk exclaimed. Dusk was in shock to no applause and no response, as well as what she believed in a slight snicker from Dayton. "Excuse me?" Dusk then of course looked over towards Dayton, equal parts frustrated and confused. "I'm sorry, but come on, Dusk. You've been saying that you were getting closer and closer to finishing that music video for a month now," Dayton teased, her tone biting a bit accusatory. "This group is for current songwriters, not just a random person who wrote a song in the past." "I'm starting to think that music video isn't even real," Kelsey laughed cruelly. "The video is real," Dusk snarled, deciding to direct her frustration at Kelsey, given that she was the number one of the member group that Dusk had a strong disdain for. "Last I checked, none of you are signed, so you don't even know the first thing about anything we're doing." "That's exactly our point," Jonathan chimed in. "This is a support group for writers who discuss the current work, so I don't get why you keep showing up if you don't write anything current." "You guys are acting like I'm a legacy artist or something," Dusk snapped. "We put out a whole album 2 months ago, and we've been busy promoting and working jobs. Dawn knows I've been working for stuff, but for the band." "I'm sorry, Dusk, but they're right," Dawn replied, causing Dusk's heart to sink. "All of us had shared at least several songs in the group for the past few weeks, but you still haven't told us about their single you've written since joining a month ago. We're not trying to shame you, we're just trying to help you. If you're being serious about songwriting, you should at least write something soon. Even if the music video is taking a while, because Thorne and Luna are still dragging their feet or whatever. If you're saying something serious about a songwriter you claim, I've got a challenge for you," Dayton smirked slyly. "I dare you to write a song next week. Literally everybody else in the group that does it every week. So that shouldn't be too hard for you, right?" Dusk couldn't believe her ears. Who the hell did these people think they were really challenging her? They were all beginning songwriters who had not yet discovered yet. How could they even think to get away with writing like she was lazy? washed-up artist when she was far more famous than any of them. Moreover, she didn't like how Dawn was acting like she was trying to help her, as if Dusk was just a confused amateur who was trying to write her first song. And why did she keep blaming Thorn and Luna? The slow process of making the music video wasn't any of her faults. It was just taking longer because they all wanted to put time to think about their music video and to ensure it was top quality. Dusk knew that what the fuck she was doing, and she was going to prove it once and for all for these assholes. Fine, I'll show you all that you're frickin' wrong, Dusk growled. Challenge accepted.